All right, I'm going to call this meeting into order of the West Linn-Wilsonville School Board of Directors. And Ms. Douglas, will you please call roll?
Certainly. Director Slough,
Here.
Director Taylor,
Here.
Chair King,
Here.
Vice Chair Thompson,
Here.
Director Wyatt. Thank you.
All right, very good. So we have the last time that our student representatives will be present with us. And it's maybe a first time as well. Okay, so we will start with Westland High School and Sky Gomes. Come on up.
Good evening, Dr. Ledwig and school board members. I hope you're all doing well. It is so nice to see everyone again, and I'm excited to be able to update you one last time about everything that is happening at West Linn. April was full of so many fun activities. We had our powder puff, which some pictures are on the left. The top picture is actually our winning senior pink team, which is really fun because they really wanted to win last year and didn't. So they were kind of want to come back this year. It was really hot too and sunny. We even had some people get burnt because no one really expected it to be really nice with the weather lately. And then a few days later, we also had our century-old May Day tradition. The theme was Hollywood, and it was such a fun, magical night. That's the kind of the two pictures in the middle and then the one on the top left. We had a ton of different students get to share fun talents like dance, music, singing, jazz band, everything. And then our choir and our band groups also got to participate in state competitions that same day. We even had some people going back and forth between the two so they could be a part of both, which was super fun. And they did super well, so we're super proud of them. Looking to May, we have our prom, which is on May 13th, which is also themed Hollywood, City of Stars kind of. And then we will also have one last Spirit Week after that, which some ideas we have so far is like jorts and jerseys. Hopefully the weather will be nice enough for that. And then our students are also currently working on AP testing this week, which is a lot for some of them, but they're doing super well and just trying to finish the school year off strong. This year has definitely gone by way faster than I ever expected, but I'm super grateful for every moment and for getting the opportunity to share with you all the amazing moments that happened at West Linn this past year. And with that, also decision day, which is on the bottom there, was today, obviously. So we had tons of seniors taking pictures with their plans for after the school year ends, which is coming super fast. So yeah, that's kind of it.
Sky and would you be willing to announce what your decision was?
Yes, I will be attending University of Oregon in the fall to major in business and administration. So,
Awesome. You
yeah.
couldn't see us, but Curtis Nelson is up there cheering and
Yes,
doing the and so you have a fan up there. And we're going to, should I do this one at a time? Okay, that sounds good. We have a plaque for you that we'll do. So
Thank you.
yeah. All right. Thank you, Sky. And then I will welcome up from Wilsonville High School, Eli Sievers.
Good evening, Dr. Ludwig and school board. It's been a while since I've been here, but I'm really excited to be back to talk about the busy month that we have had. Since it is decision day, I will also be attending the University of Oregon. Go Ducks. Currently I'm unsure what I'm going to be majoring in, but I definitely have an interest in education right now. So I'm really excited for the next 4 years and all the opportunities that will be embedded in them. Now I would love to talk about our very eventful weekend, which included our annual Spring Fest. It was the 25th one, as well as our prom. So for our Spring Fest, Miss Molitor was one of the main support for creating a very memorable evening full of fun. I was actually honored to be a part of this year's Spring Fest as one of the masters of ceremony. It included incredible talents ranging from art displays, dancing, and singing. Our court was able to present their talents during a day assembly, as well as a night main event, the night main event as well. And then on Saturday, our upperclassmen got to experience a memorable night in Paris was our theme at the Portland Zoo. It was such a great time. It was so wonderful to see everyone all dressed up, including teachers and administrators, and celebrating all together through dancing, pictures, and lots of snacks. There were definitely lots of snacks there. And then I also included pictures of all the chaperones and staff that made it such a fun and safe night for all of us. Next, our leadership team put together a very unique and successful fundraising event that included upcycling clothes. The pop-up thrift raised $350, which was matched by 10 for a total of $3,550. All the clothing was just $1 each, and our wonderful Wilsonville community donated all the items. And I know a large portion of that will be going towards getting dogs to help for people. Guide dogs is what I was trying to say. And then our theater program will be putting on the last show in our old auditorium as construction on the new one is coming to a near end. The spring show this year will be Clue, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Now I'd like to talk about some of the great achievements our robotics team, Aerocode Zero, has made over the past month. They competed in multiple competitions that have qualified them for world competitions. They ranked 11th place in the Pacific Northwest and are ranked 234 out of 3,286 worldwide. They will also be hosting a fun raffle and bingo fundraiser on the evening of May 19th. There'll be lots of fun prizes and raffles. And then over the past week, students at Wilsonville High School have shown the importance and strength of community as we have had to unify to support one another. Together, we have learned that through unification comes positive support, and I'm just very proud to be part of this incredibly supportive community. Next, we've seen lots of success and growth from all of our spring sports this year, including both boys and girls lacrosse, golf, tennis, and as well as baseball, softball, and track. They're still working very hard as they are still amidst busy schedules of games, matches, and meets. Now, before I end, I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity to share what I am definitely most passionate about. I feel so lucky to be able to attend Wilsonville High School because of the incredible students and amazing teachers. I've learned so much through this opportunity, this position, and I will cherish and remember that. As worried as I was the first time coming to this podium, I will definitely miss these frequent meetings. So thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you. And I will invite up with Riverside High School, Ruthie Murphy, who is a current 8th grader.
Thank you, Board of Directors and Superintendent Lugwood, for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Ruthie Murphy, and I am the student representative of Riverside High School for today's board meeting. I enrolled into Riverside to be a part of an amazing community in the making. All the staff is working hard to create a positive environment full of opportunities for the 9th and 10th graders next year. They've already taken action with gathering the upcoming 9th graders from all 5 schools to Riverside. We got to know each other better by engaging in thrilling conversations, including talking about how the next year will go. On April 25th, Riverside hosts its monthly info meeting. It was great to continue to meet with families and students to continue to spread the word about Riverside. During the May 17th meeting, we will be holding an academic/activity fair. There will be an opportunity to talk about some of the co-curriculars in athletics and meet some of the teachers that will be leading those co-curriculars. Lastly, our RHS Athletics is continuing to hire staff for the next year. We are wrapping up interviews for fall sports, and winter sports jobs are now posted. Spring sports will be posted in the near future. Enrollment continues to be open and will be through the summer. If you know a family that is interested, have them reach out to the Riverside High School team.
Thank you so much, Ruthie, for being willing to come be such a strong representative of Riverside High School. So I think at this point, what I'll do is we have plaques for the 2 of you who have been here throughout the year, and I will come give those to you. And maybe before I do that, we could take a moment to say something if we'd like to.
We could have the chair and vice chair maybe present the plaques, and Andrew's ready to take a picture too of the 2 seniors getting their plaques. So
Okay,
take a
great.
moment to do
And
that.
once we get the plaques and take the pictures, and probably you're going to want to go because you have AP tests and things like that. But I just wanted to take a moment to say, it's always a highlight for me. I mean, I got into this work because of students and because of young people. And so sometimes being on the board, we get a little more removed from that over the years. So this is a highlight for me. And also so I know the year of 2020, we did not have regular academic year presentations because of all the things. And then I don't think last year we did either. It was mostly Zoom because of the COVID instruction. And so this was the first year for us to be back to this schedule in person. And you've been coming during a time where we just have had more people in this room than ever, and historically. So to come in and to do public speaking in a formal environment and intense situations is really just takes a lot of courage. So thank you for being willing to do that. It's been a highlight.
Real quick, first off, congratulations to both of you on your college selection, and I hope you go have an amazing time. Get good grades, but don't neglect the experience, especially if you're living in the dorms and all. Embrace it for what it is, all the craziness, the people that are not going to be like you. Just take it all in because it'll teach you a lot about the real world. But I also want to say that I've been impressed with the both of you and some of the other students, especially a new 8th grade student, to stand up in front of a room and publicly speak, which is a large fear of most people. And in this day and age of kids being connected to digital devices, to see 2 young people stand up in front of a crowd of adults and speak the way that you do, you'll go far in life with that. So appreciate the device, but focus on your words and what you're doing already. And I think it'll carry you a long way. So good luck in there.
I just want to recognize, Sky, I think you are being very humble and not recognizing that you were part of that May Day tradition. And I think it really is telling because throughout the year, you've brought to us the joy and the love that you have for Westland High School. And so just want to make sure that you're recognized for that. And then Elijah, I just want to give you a lot of credit for earlier this year, standing up and, as some might say, speaking truth to power and sharing with us the perspectives that you and your classmates brought to the discussion about books in our school libraries. And that takes a lot of guts. And both of you, as Director Taylor said, are exceptional public speakers and really look forward to seeing what you do next. And then lastly, Ruthie, I hope you come back. That was just one of the best presentations we've had. It was informative, and your joy and excitement about Riverside, and we could feel it up here. So thank you.
I just want to, I feel like there's nothing left to say, really, because they've said it all. And so I would just ditto all of those things. And if you are already up here doing public speaking at this time in your lives, you're so far ahead. And so I just know that this is the start of just an amazing rest of the journey for both of you. I'm a little disappointed neither one of you are going to Oregon State, but I'm going to try to be mature about it. But anyway, just thank you so much for coming and just bringing the joy that you experience every day in high schools, and for reminding each one of us up here in some of the hard times that there's great things happening in our schools and that students are engaging and enjoying and learning. And so just thank you for that. And Ruthie, it was all I could do not to take your picture, but I was worried that that would have been inappropriate because your mother would have loved a picture of you up there. And I am going to text her after the meeting and tell her what a wonderful job you did. But I didn't take a picture. There won't be a picture. I promise. I didn't do that. Okay, good.
All right, go ahead, Director Soup.
And I just wanted to thank Sky and Elijah for your amazing reports. It was always a highlight of my board meeting to listen to what each of the 2 high schools were doing. It was just a connection for me. And I wanted to thank Elijah. So when Director Thompson and I were taking a tour with Dr. Ludwig, you came up and said hi to us. And that really meant a lot to me. And kudos to you, to both of you, for speaking, and to Ruthie for speaking in front of everybody, because that's the challenge that I still deal with every day, is speaking in front of the public. So congratulations on going to U of O. And I'll still be rooting for the Beavers though. So.
Lastly, I'll just chime in. Ruthie, I have a sense I'm going to get lots more opportunities to give you kudos. So I'm going to focus on Sky and Eli and just thank you both. We know that once a month you get to stand here and share what your school is doing. But throughout the month, the two of you are enormously active on top of your studies to just being a vibrant part of your school life and encouraging students, showing up to events, being cheerleaders, along the way with your classmates, being positive influenced. So the hard work we know was out there every day. And then you got, these few moments to share some of that with us. So while it's extraordinary what you do here every month, I also want to thank you for the extraordinary leadership you show back in the buildings. I see your principals both nodding vigorously. They know the influence you have with your peers and you set the tone for a positive school experience. So thank you for being so involved in your schools and taking that on. That's incredibly courageous leadership as well among your peers. So kudos to you both, and just keep in touch and pop in from time to time and let us know how it's going. And now we're going to take your pictures, receiving your plaques.
Yeah, and we can, anybody from the board who wants to get their picture taken with the students, please come on up and we'll hand these over and have a photo op.
Right up front here is perfect. Yeah, great. It's good, but also I don't think. I can see. Right. 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
All right, I think we can start back up. And we are going to start back up with recognitions, and we have, thank you, Sky and Eli, you're welcome to go. We are going to invite up Dr. David Pryor for Teacher Appreciation Week.
Stacy Ball to join me up here to represent WWEA. I'm gonna let you hold these gifts from our team while I recognize you. Well, good evening, Board of Directors and Dr. Ludwig. We are here tonight to honor our amazing licensed educators for Teacher Appreciation Week. Here to represent this wonderful group is WWEA member and teacher leader Stacy Ball. Our WWEA president, Jennifer Saracen, was planning on attending tonight, but is dealing with an unexpected pet emergency. So I'm sure she's watching from afar, and Stacy Ball agreed to pop in at the last minute. Stacy and I go way back. She was a speech language pathologist with me when I was principal and IC at Willamette, and her energetic dedication to supporting students and staff is unparalleled. So it's fitting that she's here accepting this honor for our teachers. We are so incredibly thankful for our strong collaboration with the Linn-Wilsonville Education Association. Over the past few years, we have depended on their partnership to navigate the pandemic, collect feedback from educators about support needed in our classrooms, and celebrate the things going well at our schools. We are grateful for this partnership and for the educators in the West Linn-Wilsonville School District. Our licensed staff are truly top-notch educators. They are dedicated, compassionate, talented, persistent, hardworking, and deeply committed to the success of every single child and student. We have deep respect and appreciation for the work they put into every day to serve the students and families of our district. And thank you, Stacy, for accepting this honor on behalf of our licensed educators. You're gonna hold that for you?
On behalf of the certified staff, I just want to say thank you so much. It is really an honor for me to be here, and I appreciate all of your time and your dedication that you put into this job. It's not an easy one, and it's very needed. So thank you.
Yeah, if you would mind, we're just going to gush for a little bit longer if you want to just relish in it. I'm going to do something a little bit formal, but still from the heart, which is to read this resolution that I will sign and our board secretary, Kelly Douglas, will sign afterward. And this is our Teacher Appreciation Week resolution. Whereas teachers mold future citizens through guidance and education, and whereas teachers encounter students of widely differing backgrounds, and whereas our country's future depends on providing quality education to all students, and whereas teachers spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling and coaching students, and performing community service. And whereas our community recognizes and supports its teachers in educating the children of this community, now therefore be it resolved that the Linn-Wilsonville Board of Directors proclaims May 8th through 12th, 2023 to be Teacher Appreciation Week. And be it further resolved that the Linn-Wilsonville Board of Directors strongly encourages all members of our community to join us in personally expressing appreciation to our teachers for their dedication and devotion to their work. And we're adopting it this first day of May. There we go. And yeah. And I know Vice Chair Thompson wants to say something.
So I think I mentioned it maybe at the last meeting, but I'm a daughter of, my mom was a teacher and then I was a teacher. And I guess what I want to say to our community is what you see these amazing educators do at school is not where their job ends. They go home and then they work some more, whether it's grading papers, whether it's preparing for what they're going to do the next day. Teaching is a job that is with you throughout the night and very often on the weekends as well. You do not leave your teaching at school. And so I just want to acknowledge, I always described it as you work 12 months in a 10.5 month period. Like you are working that full year, but it's kind of stuffed into the 10.5 with all of the extra. So I just really want our community members to realize that what you see them do at school is not the end of the school day for them. The other thing I want to say is part of that resolution talks about inviting our community to express that appreciation. And I just want to throw it out there for those of you who are listening, to students, to parents, to encourage your students to write notes to your teachers and tell them why you appreciate them and why they are special to you. I still have some of those notes. And that is what I think, to me, the most heartfelt thing I know we're going to do. Our schools will each do different things, which I think is awesome. And hopefully all of our teachers will get well fed and gifts and all of those sort of things. But I also want to encourage parents and students, write a note. Tell that teacher why they're special, why they've made a difference in your life, in your student's life. So thank you so much for what you do.
Did anybody else want to go? Okay. Well, Stacy. So Dr. Pryor mentioned that the two of you go way back, and Stacy and I do as well, watching her daughters grow up, and every now and then she shows me pictures, and then I feel old, and we just kind of whimper about that and touch our lack of hair or whatever it is. But I think it's just an example of your commitment to the district, Stacy, and you represent so many teachers who have been here for decades and are really committed to the community, that make the commute, dive in head first, 100% committed, above and beyond, attend all sorts of after-school events for children in their class, sometimes even weddings and bar mitzvahs and all sorts of things, and sometimes even, sadly, those times when parents are going through tragedy and teachers become that additional counselor and support. So you do become a member, kind of ad hoc member of the family. And this goes not only just for teachers, but all educators. And I think of our paraeducators as well that are deeply loved as well in the community. So thank you to all the teachers who are listening, our educators, for your commitment. We really should recognize you every week of the year, all teachers. And so we're setting aside this 1 week to just pay extra special close attention and appreciate you stepping in tonight. Gives us a chance to see you. And thank you, Jen. I know you're listening over Zoom. For all you do for Jen and Matt and Karen, who have stepped into extraordinary leadership this year for WWA. Appreciate the three of them as well. So bravo.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to another recognition, this time of our school nurses and speech language pathologist, occupational therapist, and physical therapist.
Oh,
Yeah.
just a couple of our amazing professionals this evening. It is always an honor to be able to reflect about our professionals who do this work right alongside. It's so fun to be here thinking about 4 different groups of professionals at the same time as we're celebrating our teachers and our certified staff. The collaboration, the connection is where the magic is. And Chair King, earlier you described, we came into this work because of the young humans that we get to be a part of their lives, their journey, their exploration from kindergarten through high school. And I think when I look at these groups, I'm going to start right now with our occupational therapists and our physical therapists. They get this beautiful opportunity of this vertical articulation of knowing a student's story, of knowing that student's story from a young age through their school-based experience, and each step of the way getting to partner with the student's team. So their team grows, it evolves, it might change. And these professionals that we're going to reflect about tonight, they get to partner every step of the way. So I'm going to give a shout out that my pictures this evening, they might have some added, we tried to work through getting all of our team members in. And sometimes that might be trying to make sure that everybody is represented, but we have 4 incredible occupational therapists in our district. And these occupational therapists, they center in this building capacity, promoting independence. And that might be through supporting a student with their personal care, with their fine motor skills, with their self-regulation. It's like this vast, expansive, beautiful, cohesive way of wrapping around who a student is and what they need at school. They partner for students' individual goals, but then they also support in this building of capacity that both our occupational therapists and our physical therapists do in collaboration around really thinking deeply around how do we create our school environment for all of our learners? What are the ways that we promote and build these ways that we move through schools, that we interact with students? And I'm going to tell a little story about our occupational therapists, like the excitement that this group of professionals might get in thinking about an individual learner. Just earlier this week, I got an email. It's Monday. Last week, I got an email from one of our occupational therapists being like, let me tell you this great success. And I'm going to show it to you in pictures. So this team is thinking deeply around how do students engage in the classroom? How does our physical space and what I'm sitting in impact the way that I'm ready to access my learning? And showed a picture of one of our phenomenal students before having access to a different type of alternative seating option, and then after. And that small change of shifting what that student was sitting in completely changed that student's posture, their access, their ability to be completely there in that learning environment. And that celebration of what that meant for that student is exactly where this team thrives. They thrive in those celebrations of knowing that we can tweak these pieces and they can be so magical for our individual students. Our physical therapists, likewise, they're creating access all the time. And they might be supporting our students in accessing and moving through the school building, in engaging in wellness activities, right? Whether or not that's our PE classes or that's accessing our playground, or it is engaging in personal care, or again, that partnership. Both of these groups of professionals work It's like collaboration is the name of the game here. They work alongside our nurses, our speech paths, our learning specialists, our general education teachers, our paraeducators to think through a safe feeding protocol, right? All of these professionals have to come together and they do it in these masterful ways. I was thinking about just a quick story about one of our physical therapists who recently was listening to a parent and a student share their story. And in that journey of sharing their story, she realized, oh, there's this moment in time as we learn about this family's experience with their medical team and some experience a student was going to have outside of school, that there was this time when we could truly capitalize on how the student might engage with a stander. And that partnership that our physical therapists have with our families, I can't even quite exemplify that. It is to be able to partner with the family and say, I'm here with you as you're walking through this with your medical providers outside of school. This is what we can do in school. And I was able to be there and watch the student in this moment of time that worked beautifully after this, this opportunity in their stander, gaining more access and more independence each day. And the best part is the incredible excitement from every single person on that student's team. There are tears, there's joy, and just to think that this group of professionals is able to wrap around and partner for each and every step of it. They're an incredible group. Occupational therapists, we just had the opportunity in April to celebrate our occupational therapists, and our physical therapists actually were celebrated earlier this year, but it was such a great moment to be able to, they're our motor team, they work side by side, they work in integration to celebrate them together. So, should we go straight to the next one? Thank you. Our nursing team. I had to choose this picture of two of our nurses, Lindsay and Karen, because this was them after a full day of supporting one of our emergency response team trainings. That is such a significant lift and a gift to think for our school communities. Our school nurses, they work so deeply for individual students and for that whole school care. And our emergency response teams are what allow us to have people in each of our buildings who've been trained in that medic first aid piece to be able to really have that confidence to respond and to be a cohesive team in a building at any time that we need it. And this team, they lead professionals from across our district in learning these skills, in practicing these skills and checking on them. And it's a big lift. I think they are providing 6 different days of emergency response team training. It's not a 6-day training. They're each a 1-day training, but 6 different opportunities so that people have that really tight opportunity to be practicing with feedback, with coaching, with partnership. And so this picture is at the end of a day, they're tired, they're there with their mannequins, practicing CPR, and it's such an incredible opportunity for them to be able to train our staff to feel that empowerment. I'm not a medical provider. And this team actually knows it because they know that if they describe some things, I get a little woozy, right? They're like, and Lauren's out of the room. But as a non-medical provider, it is such an impactful thing to have a team that can lead the calm, right? When we think about something that is, I'm ready to lean into teaching and instructional practices, and then to think about a student who might have more complex needs, this team, they lead the calm in helping us really walk through how we can support a student's medical needs at school so that they can learn every day. And that's what they do every single day, is make sure that from an individual student perspective, we know and are partnering with families. As soon as we learn a student might have a new medical diagnosis or impact for school, we're supporting in that everyday ongoing piece, as well as thinking through, goodness, you know what? We can do universal screenings too. Let's wrap around vision screenings and partner with the Lions Club. And so this team really does that work in some beautiful ways. A story that I would share about this team is when we have a student who might be experiencing a new diagnosis, and we're working through how we might support them in building their independence, right? Feeling their own sense of empowerment, their own sense of like, I got this at school. And as a non-medical professional who might be supporting that student, I'm reflecting too, how do I support that student in continuing to grow in their journey? And this team like practices that I do, we do, you do with such care, with such grace, so that we can all feel that same sense of confidence in our students walking along inside the school day and growing every day. Now, I should have mentioned on our school nurses, we have a couple of nurses there who are supporting individual students' medical care. And then we also have our building-based nurses. Likewise, in this picture, there's actually more professionals in here than our speech language pathologists, because what we have is this continued theme of collaboration and connection. So our pictures might be a little effusive in this moment. So the picture on the left is actually 2 school psychologists, a speech language pathologist, and an occupational therapist, who all partnered together to provide professional development, professional learning opportunity at one of our schools. And again, it's that cohesiveness, it's that cohesion of how they all come together that really allowed them to share their why, the how, the experiences, to use our students' individual examples, and to be able to really help a team, an entire school team, grow in their capacity to think through, what does augmentative communication look like to build the students' communication? What are some of the sensory, they were specifically thinking about autism spectrum disorder in this training. What are some of the sensory pieces we might be looking at? How do we come back to our 7 components and those rituals and routines? And so the magic really happened when it was all these professionals coming together. Likewise, the picture on the right is actually a retirement party last year, gathering to say goodbye to 2 of our phenomenal speech language pathologists. And there's a smattering of school psychologists in there and physical therapists, because our professionals work so closely together. But our speech language pathologists every day are embedded in our building practices. They're in classrooms, they're supporting a student who might be working on articulation services. They might be supporting a student in really thinking through their peer involvement and those social interactions. And just pausing to think about each of these professionals, that is so empowering. It's so foundational to how we grow up as in community, in partnership with our neighbors, with everybody, is to be able to learn those skills for engagement and collaboration. And this is the foundational work that this team is doing. I will share that to think about some of our students who may be really working to develop expressive communication in just the most powerful ways. This team will every single day walk alongside a student and a family to think, what might be that best communication device, if it's a device a student might be using, which is a complex system. There are so many different devices out there. There's so many different applications that you can use to really enhance AAC communication. And then there's eye gaze communication. There's so many different ways that we might be wrapping around it. And they develop expertise in each of these areas to be able to walk alongside teams and families to identify what that best fit is. And we know it's the best fit when we start to see a student being able to use it, right? Being able to use it, to be able to connect with people, to be able to communicate. And then they say, okay, let's make sure we can get that for you so that you can use it across contexts. So you can be using that in the home, in the community, at school, and we can grow in that communication together. So I cannot be more thankful for the work of our speech language pathologists and all that they do in our schools to help our students. And we are approaching our speech language pathology month here in May. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sure that was even just a fraction of everything that's happening. So thank you for that overview, and please extend our gratitude to the team folks that serve our students so importantly and so complexly. And Dr. Ludwig, would you like to speak or no? Okay, we're good. All right, thank you. Okay, very good. And at this time, we'll move on to the board member and superintendent reports, and we'll start with you, Director Taylor.
Well, hello, everyone. I didn't get the opportunity to connect with any students between our last board meeting, but I did get the opportunity to connect in some way, shape, or form with some of our board candidates who are running for school boards. So I think I got some type of interaction with every single one of them except one. And it was a pleasure meeting you all. And as you go through your candidacy, I wish you all luck. And I'm going to end up working with some of you. So you got some big shoes to fill. And I'll wait to save my gushy speeches for the two people I adore up here till that time comes. But I just wanted to share that sometimes as board members, people don't understand the relational value that the five of us have. It's not always rosy. The public doesn't get to see some of the tough conversations that we have one-on-one, and then also in executive sessions where we beat each other up a little bit. And so as if I had anything to just encourage you as you continue to go through your candidacies, is just understand the relational aspect of what you're walking into. Although we might not see eye to eye at times, we all respect one another. We all call each other to vent about things that maybe we're dealing with as individuals. And sometimes we just serve as a listener to the other person. And so if I were going to give you any advice, I'd say just be open to being willing to listen to your colleagues, keep an open mind. And that doesn't mean give up passion or give up who you are as an individual, because I can tell you we do not do that. But I just wanted to give you all some well wishes, because I know some of you have been coming pretty regularly. And I've had an opportunity, like I said, to spend some time with some of you, and thank you for giving me that time. And I just wanted to wish you all luck. So good luck, you guys.
All right, Director Wyatt.
So in the last month, I had the chance to attend the Long Range Planning Committee and Bond Oversight Committee meetings. And we received the great news that with the contract award for the new primary school at Frog Pond that we had at our last meeting, we have completed our capital bond program with a balanced budget. And so that means that all of the expectations and requirements that we provided to the voters when we passed that bond program, we've delivered on that. We are going to complete these amazing projects that improve some of our schools, that build some brand new facilities. And so just want to give a lot of thanks to our bond and project management teams for making that happen. At the Long Range Planning Committee meeting, we had some celebratory treats, which I think is always an appropriate way to recognize that we've built new schools and we've remodeled existing facilities, and we've created incredible educational opportunities for our kids. And so I hope that you'll all join me in just recognizing that accomplishment. And I am really excited for the Long Range Planning Committee to come and present at an upcoming board meeting with all of the great visuals and honestly just some really great financial models that just show what we've accomplished. So if you've ever thought you couldn't get excited about a financial model, like just get ready, because it was really exciting. And then I also attended the First Responders Joint Safety Meeting. It was an all virtual event. And it's always really sobering to attend these tabletop exercises where we were imagining dangerous people on our school campuses and what we would do. And I think what was really inspiring about it, or trying to find the good in it, was just thinking about all of the people in our communities who are working together to keep our kids safe. And just want to call out, not just our school district staff who make those safety meetings happen, but we work really closely with the city of Wilsonville, the city of West Linn, and Clackamas County. And so being on those calls, having people working collaboratively, hearing from folks that work at all levels of our schools, thinking about keeping our kids safe in this day and age, it does give some peace knowing that there are scary things in the world, but we are working really well collaboratively in this region to address that. And then lastly, I had a chance to go to the middle school musical to see The Little Mermaid, featuring 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. And I was just blown away by their poise and their talent, and honestly, just their bravery to get up on stage and to sing and dance and to work together. And it just reminded me of how powerful it is when we provide extracurriculars for our middle school students. My kids are in sports, but just seeing the opportunities for our kids to thrive when we give them those opportunities. And it was just very entertaining to see that many young people dancing in unison on stage together. So just want to call out and thank all of the teachers and parents who made that happen as well. And so with that, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Sloop.
Yes, so I'm wanted to say, thank you to Dr. Ludwig because back in January, she had sent out an email to all the board of directors offering these additional learning walks or fireside chats. So we've continued those. And so the past month, she and I were able to go to the nutrition services at Wilsonville High School and take a tour, and even got to taste a warmed protein bar, and it tasted like a chocolate chip cookie. And I was like, wow, this has really come a long way from when I was in Westland schools. But what I took away from that is there's such a collaborative effort between the schools. So with Beckman, they did a lot of prep for Beckman. And the hoops that our nutrition services had to jump through during COVID, they had to provide lunches for anybody that was up to 18 years old in our community. And they did it. But they were always, outsourcing a lot of the food. They will even get locally, and they're trying new dishes. In fact, Dr. Ludwig shared with me that one of the, was it custodial? She did a Vietnam dish, and it was tasty. So it was a test, and the next time that they actually have it at the school, I get to go try it. But that was a highlight. And then we went over to the Family Empowerment Center and talked to Maria, and she has that dialed in, and it is services for families that are that have come into our district that just need some additional resources. They have computer classes for Spanish-speaking families, and then we have it's partnered through Clackamas ESD. And then they were going to have a family cafe or parent cafe day, but that was canceled. But they have clothing, they have school supplies. And then in the beginning of, before school starts in August, they have a big get together, and you can sign up for reduced lunch programs. They have backpacks. They had shave ice last year. So look for the announcements in our newsletter for August, because they're going to be doing that again. But props to Maria and the Family Empowerment Center. I think it's one of our hidden gems not a lot of people know about. And then also I was able to, the next day I went to join Westland High School's Teen Advisory Board, and I listened to a speaker, which was Good to Be Well about mental health in teens. And that was put on through Pam Pierce. And then also I went to the How to Reduce Risky Behaviors in Teens. That was presented by Dr. Crystal Collier. I know I see some people in the audience that were attended that as well. And I learned that your brain goes offline from about puberty to your mid-20s. And the white matter kind of goes under construction to fine tune mainly the frontal lobe. And so that is why teens don't understand long-term consequences, and they do these risky behaviors. And so she wrote a book on how you can address and partner and communicate with your teen to lessen those risks. And it was very informative, and I highly recommend if you have middle schoolers, now's the time to look into that book. And then also Director Thompson and I went to the Awards of Excellence program for our teachers who during COVID were hired, and they just finished their probationary period, and they're now permanent teachers in our district. And that was wonderful to hear of all our new teachers and what they've been doing. And I went to the first responders with Dr. Wyatt. Well, we listened, it was virtual. And all of the collaboration on what this district does to protect our students, first and foremost, our students and staff. And so that's always enlightening with all the different organizations working together. And I also wanted to thank Dr. Ludwig for the fireside chats. I'm very inquisitive, and our middle son, when he was in kindergarten, he just had an incredible thirst for learning, and he asked me one morning. He says, "Mom, it's really important that we learn something every day. So promise me that you will continue to learn something." And I've made that promise to him. So I'm always taking advantage of appointments with Dr. Ludwig and learning more things about our district. And she's always very willing to have fireside chats with me when I have questions. So thank you.
And Vice Chair Thompson?
Happy May Day, by the way. Does anyone still do the wrap around, make the flowers in the baskets, and then you go leave it on someone's door and you knock the door and you leave? Does anyone do that anymore? We did that as a kid. Yes, it's illegal. Anyway, so happy May Day. Whether or not you celebrate it by putting flowers in a basket and leaving it on a neighbor's porch. So a few things that I want to highlight. First of all, I went to the Rhythms program at Willamette Primary School, and what a fabulous program. A shout out to, and tell me if I pronounce his name wrong, is it Tony Zayden? The health and PE teacher at Willamette Primary, who gets every student in that entire school dancing on the beat or close to it. And I just want to say, as a group fitness instructor, I super appreciate that. So that when they come to my class, it just makes my job easier. But truly, it's amazing. The choreography, and then they're all dressed up in costume. If you have not attended this event, mark your calendar next year, because it really is. And I've gone every year. Just a fabulous, and the amount of time that they put in. And then I attended International Night at Beckman Creek Primary last week, as well as International Celebration of Children at Boones Ferry Primary School. And just thank you so much to our parents and our staff members who made amazing food. Right? If you're one of those people that goes to Costco to kind of surf through all of the samples, International Night way outdoes Costco. I'm just going to tell you. It's amazing. And the amount of time and effort that you can tell they put into the food, into the displays that they have, and the pictures, and dressed up. Anyway, it just really great nights. And I especially want to thank our staff members at each one of these events. So many staff members who've already worked a very long day. And the Beckman Creek staff members who gave up their Thursday night, the Boones Ferry staff members who gave up their Friday night, who after a long day, they probably didn't even go home. They stayed there, and they were still there, excited and cheerful. And so once again, just kudos to our staff and what they give. And then Curtis, you can go ahead and put that picture up. So Posey, my pet pig, who, yes, she lives in my house. We took a field trip to Stafford to help kick off their first fun run, which they are calling the Tiger Dash. And so this was the kickoff assembly that we attended. And you notice all of the different, $1,000, all the kids get t-shirts, $2,000 extra recess, on and on, until you see that $20,000 mark that Mrs. Hall, the principal, will kiss Posey the pig. And I haven't confirmed yet if that's like right on the snout or if we're going, but I don't know. Anyway, so I did get an email today that says they are $1,895 away from that $20,000 mark. So, and the assembly is Wednesday, when Posey and I are supposed to return. So Curtis, if you want to put up the information for any of you watching, or any of you in the audience who might want to contribute to this event on Wednesday, here is where you can give some money, and I'm sure that they can reach that $20,000 mark. So Posey and I are already looking forward to going back. And by the way, I kiss her all the time, so. And that's it.
The things we learn about each other up here. So I thank you for the comment about the gushy speeches. I don't know if, I think 3, but yeah, because last year we didn't have people turning over off the board. So there is a bit of a tradition that we do at the last formal meeting, that the people who are leading the board say something about what it's meant to them to serve, and then the other people can say things about us while we're here listening to you. So we'll get to do that this June. next month. And what I want to do actually is speak to a couple of things. In April, I did 2 big trips. I went to, I say Cheney, Washington. The people there, I think, say Cheney, Washington. I don't know if anybody's from there. I can confirm. Cheney, yeah. So went to Cheney, Washington for like 4 nights. And then we went to Houston for 5 nights with the robotics team. I think there's even a couple of parents out there in the crowd that have kiddos on the robotics team. And this is just such a good example of our district goal number 3 coming alive, because the school does a lot to support the team. And also it's more of a community effort. The mentors who lead the team, I got to know them better, being that we were traveling and having dinner together every night. And we have some incredible mentors. They are engineers, they are software designers. Some of them are very high up, like vice presidents and tech firms. We have mentors who graduated from our schools and went through our robotics team, graduated, went to college, and then came back and are working in the tech field and mentoring on this team. There is a young woman who just won an award for being a woman in manufacturing. I guess there's a big initiative nationwide to get more women, people in manufacturing. And so we just have this incredible mentor team. Shout out to Curtis, who I literally, when you started to show pictures, I was like, oh, Curtis, I have a picture. And I just sent that to him like 90 seconds ago. And he's got it up there on the screen. This is the team in Houston. And there were teams from all over the world, no exaggeration. Israel, Brazil, France. I mean, I don't know, like all over the place. Turkey, did I say that one yet? So really incredible. Something like 50,000 people come to Houston to the convention center. Our team did phenomenally. They ranked in, I think that they were definitely in the top 20 on their field. I think maybe they ended up as 14th or something like that. And the great thing about robotics is that it's a lot that goes into the robot and getting the robot to execute the tasks, but also there's all the other skills that go into it. So the business strategy, which I know a couple of you parents have kids on the business team, I'll be talking to you, and data strategy, taking the data from the robots and making strategic alliances, and the gracious professionalism, which is the core value of the team. So they did actually get selected to be in an alliance, and they competed in the final round. It was a double elimination, so they won the first one and then lost the next 2 and were out. But just to see the joy on the students' faces and the mentors, they're already strategizing for how to get better. And I'll say one more thing, and then I'll stop gushing about robotics. I was always a fan, but spending this much time with them and seeing it really up close just made me just fall in love with the program. What we have on this team are students. I've never seen such a diverse and inclusive team of students. It's everything from freshman to senior. We have some students who are homeschooled. We have students all the way from kiddos who are applying to Stanford and may get in, or schools of that caliber, to students who need the devices and the assistance to communicate. And just to see that level of diversity of students all working together in a shared goal with the caliber of mentors, and then performing at the level that they're performing at a worldwide competition was just incredible. So super proud of Air Code Zero. I know Westland also has a program that we could equally, gush about. I just speaking about them because I had the joy of traveling with them a lot in April. And that's it from me. Thank you. And Superintendent Ludwig.
Well, thank you. And I'm glad you got to go in that experience. All right, get the PowerPoint up and going. You can go to that first slide, the next one. There we go. So I'm glad you talked about the middle school musical, and it's always hard for me to pick and choose what I'm going to share in my superintendent report, because I could echo almost everything the high schoolers shared, the middle schoolers, everything you've shared, and then we'd be here all night long. So I just try and pick a couple things. But the reason I'm picking the middle school musical, which I also got to attend, is because there's so much that goes into that production. We had over 90, close to 100 middle school students who performed. So they actually have two casts. You see cast A or B, whichever letter that, and so you're not even seeing the whole group each night. And then on top of that, we have over 20 high school students who are a part of making that happen as well, behind the scenes, as assistant directors, stage crew, lighting crew. Often there are students who have been in the middle school musical and they just had a great experience. They want to come back and help. So it's a really great example of parents, volunteers, community members, businesses who donate, high schoolers who are part of it, people who are in the orchestra. It's live orchestra with Allison Bond Savage, who's directing that. There's adults who perform alongside students in that orchestra, and then of course the cast. And it's a beautiful example of students from all 4 middle schools, as well as our charter school, who get to be a part of it. So kudos to Julie Lane, who directs that every year, but she's got a tremendous team. Kaylee Porter, who's the choreographer and also the musical director. And then you can see a couple other names up there. So just want to thank them for making that happen. And thank you, Director Wyatt, for also mentioning that. Next slide. And then you've mentioned a couple of these, the robotics, the athletics. We heard about prom and the Spring Fest, and then we'll have a prom at Westland High School. A lot of clubs are being active. I was able a couple of weeks ago to go to the Affinity Club for their Eid Mubarak celebration at the library. So clubs are thriving, and so are the athletics. It's hard to get to everything. But if you're a middle school parent, this is the season for track and field. So they're out practicing and having their meets. So it's busy in our middle schools right now. And then also middle school teams are having those informational 6th grade parent sessions alongside our dual language sessions that are also happening at all 3 levels. So we've also offered those again this spring so parents can hear about dual language and if they want their children to be a part of those programs. And then here's a couple pictures from the 3 international nights that I was able to attend, Beckman and Boone's Ferry, which Director Thompson mentioned, and Sunset also had theirs last week. Great example, again, of parents incredibly proud, as they should be, of their culture. And when you think about the diversity in our community and how much richer we are for the experiences of everyone and children who bring that to their classroom and their peers, we just become better people. And we become a better community when we celebrate each other. So some great pictures. I could have had 24 pictures, but just had a hard time picking a few. So those do represent each of the 3 schools in there. And to the little guys up on the far right, who I told them I would show their picture tonight, and I've got my Bulgaria bracelet that they gave me. So it was really sweet. And then just to keep us moving along, I have committed to you as a board that each month I would give an update on our K-5 literacy renewal process. And just a reminder, it's not just a 1-year renewal, that these couple years that we're in right now, we've been doing some focus on instructional practices and looking at data review. You can see we've done some additional benchmark assessment training. We've made sure that our word study supplemental materials, we did have 2 different programs, the K2 Lucy Calkins and the K5 Fontes and Pinnell. We switched to just having the K5 Fontes and Pinnell so there'd be more consistency across the schools as teams want to collaborate and schools want to collaborate. We're reviewing our assessments, looking at data, identifying strengths and areas for need for improvement. So those are the things we're working on now as we're beginning that renewal process. And next slide. This is an update from some of our leaders around where we are with the renewal process since I last reported. Again, we're underway. Our emphasis as we meet with teachers and as we have staff meetings and conversations is that we're going to focus on teaching practice and focusing on our instruction this year, that we're following the research around what's important with curriculum, making sure that we have intentional instruction around reading and word study in grades K-5. And we do want to just bring clarity around that while we're in the adoption process, we also have to keep using the materials that we have because that's what the board had adopted. So I know that sometimes there's a question of why can't you switch right now or not use the materials that you have now? Well, we'll get to that once that adoption happens. But in the meantime, we want to make sure teachers know how to use the current materials really well. So our trainings do use those. And so, because it will be a little bit of time before we make that adoption. And so we want to make sure that any new teachers or teachers unfamiliar with something in those materials have the skills and the assurance that they need around how to use those well. And while we're having these workshops and sessions, we're generating this kind of list of what is it that makes really high quality reading instruction in the classroom? What are our look-fors? So we continue to build our expertise around that. Next. I shared with you last month that we have these 3 sessions that we're offering this spring for teachers who would like to have more practice, or maybe we're one of the teacher teams that got the Fontes and Pinnell. Maybe they've been using the K2 Lucy Calkins phonics kits, and now they're switching to the Fontes and Pinnell, and they want to dig into that a little bit more. These are optional sessions, and we've had over 60 teachers attend. So this room is packed. And that's pretty phenomenal. Talk about teachers who have taught all day long, and then instead of going home, they come in this room for a couple hours and engage in conversations around what are essential reading components, those 5 pillars, and then how to dig deeply into direct instruction around word study, phonics, and phonemic awareness, and what those lessons look like in their classrooms. For those who attend those sessions, there's going to be follow-up in the summer and the fall with more intensive workshops built off of those 3. If they weren't able to attend those 3 sessions, they can still be a part of those deeper workshops. And we call them more intensive because in the summer, you could actually then be there all day. And so you get to really continue the learning for a more extended period of time. What we're also doing is we're reaching out to our teachers to see who's interested in serving on that K-5 literacy renewal team. So principals are starting to gather names. We want to make sure that group is representative of every school, as well as various grade levels, learning specialists, language specialists. So we start gathering names to put that team together. So that's also happening at this time. And then I mentioned this last month, but just to reiterate that you see the dates there, the end of June, we'll be sending a small team to a 5-day training session that's sponsored by the Institute for Multisensory Education. And this will be a team who will go and learn some more, even more specific and discrete skills on helping students with learning challenges around reading, whether it's dyslexia or another learning disability, and doing that intensive study and training and bringing back their learning to the renewal process and to the team. And then as we plan our August literacy symposium, they'll have a key role in bringing that information to that symposium. And this last slide, I just wanted to put up here because it is Teacher Appreciation Week. And I want to specifically call out, as we did earlier, the incredible expert practitioners that our teachers are. And I know sometimes whether it's campaign season or whether it's out in the news media, sometimes the commentary unintentionally describes a situation and teachers feel that their hard work and their expertise is maybe not considered as much as it should be. And it's my responsibility to be proud of our employees, and I know you are as well. And so I just want to take this time to recognize how expert our teachers are. They commit to an intensive degree program that includes work in classrooms, a lot of study, methodology, pedagogy. They take it seriously. Some of them add other licensures, endorsements, and certificates. They work skillfully to design expert lessons. They instruct whole groups of students, small groups of students, one-on-one, more than most of us do during a day. And they do it cheerfully and thoughtfully to teach other people's children to read, to write, to do math, and to engage in the world. We have a robust professional development program in our district internally, and we support the learning outside of the district, university classes, getting additional degrees and certification, conferences and workshops. And we have one of the highest and most robust ones in the state because we have teachers who want to keep learning. And they want to get better at what they do. We know we're not all perfect. And there's a lot to learn in our profession. And I think when we go to a doctor or a dentist, we want to know that they're keeping up on their craft and their profession and their expertise, and it's no different. And I'm incredibly proud of seeing 60 teachers when I walk in this room who are already doing brilliant work, but they're just wanting to get even better. And that's who they are. And then just a reminder that it's our teachers who teach reading, and the curriculum isn't what teaches the reading. Curriculum matters. We want high quality curriculum, but expert teaching matters more. And so our focus through our renewal process is going to be empowering our teachers, building their confidence, growing their efficacy, and believing in them, not criticizing them or creating division, but supporting them. And lastly, I just want to say that every teacher, staff member, principal, and district leader is a champion for all children to be able to read. We know our parents support reading being done well in our district, and we're appreciative of that partnership. And I also want to recognize that our teachers show up every day committed to that goal. In September and October of last year, there were 2 articles written describing the plummeting the scores of state assessments. And each of those media stories attributed to the COVID impact on disruption in the classroom and attendance and trauma for families, and the result of that being the declining impact that we saw on state assessments. And we all knew that that's what we would see. We'd been preparing for that. We knew the loss that students would experience because of COVID. And a few months later, we have news articles describing the plummeting scores due to curriculum materials. And I just want to remind people that a lot happened last year that our teachers were working through. And it may have been that they needed some more support with their curriculum materials, but there was also a lot going on for them and for students in our nation and in our community. And so I just want to remind, sometimes we have a short memory about what all happened last year that impacted our classrooms and our learning. And it doesn't mean we don't have a sense of urgency, that we're not going to support every child. We are. We're truly going to put all of our weight and all of our effort around helping every student become a proficient reader. So I just want you as a board, I'm speaking to the 5 of you, just want you to remember that context. And in times when it feels like maybe the reason is oversimplistic, just a memory that it's not. There was a lot going on, and there's a lot going on still now, and our teachers are working courageously every day in the classroom to support our students. So thank you. Thank you for supporting our teachers.
All right, that concludes our board member and superintendent reports, and we'll move on to the consent agenda.
I move that we pass the consent agenda.
I'll second.
All right, thanks. We have the motion in the second, and Ms. Douglas, will you please call vote?
Certainly. Director Sloop,
Aye.
Director Taylor,
Aye.
Chair King,
Aye.
Vice Chair Thompson.
Aye.
Director Wyatt.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, we have nobody signed up for the first portion of public comment, which would be that you were a resident and you were speaking to something on the agenda. So if that was a mistake, let me know. We do have folks signed up for the second public comment period, and I'll call you when we get there. The next thing we're going to do is the budget meeting, and I'm just looking at my fellow board members because then we're going to be at that for maybe half an hour or so. Are we good to keep going, or do we need a short recess? Okay. Yeah, so I'm hearing short recess might be good. So let's come back in about 5 minutes. All right, so the first thing we'll do, I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we'll open with the budget committee meeting. The first thing we'll do is call the roll, and then after that, we'll elect the chair of the budget committee, and I'll pass the gavel to the chair, and then the chair of the budget committee will preside over the election of the vice chair. The vice chair would be the chair if the chair ever could not be present at a budget committee meeting. And then after that, the chair will be leading the budget committee meeting. And there should be an agenda that looks like this that you have somewhere, and we don't all necessarily need to have one. If you don't have one in front of you, we can share. So with that, Ms. Douglas, will you please call the roll?
Kishore Kalu,
Present.
Director Sloop,
Here.
Liz Taylor,
Here.
Miniaga.
Here.
Chelsea King,
Present.
Dan Shoemaker,
Here.
Chrissy Thompson. Here. Ginger Fitch.
Here.
Kirsten Wyatt.
Here.
Helena G.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, very good, thanks. And what I'd like to do is go ahead and follow the same type of procedure we do when we appoint people to the budget committee. I'll open the floor for nomination of chair, and we can take all the nominations and then vote for them in the order that the nominations are made. And with that, I open the floor for nominations of budget committee chair.
Miniaga as chair.
All right, we have Miniaga. Okay, we have a second. Are there any further nominations? All right, Ms. Douglas, will you please call the vote?
Anyone in opposition, please say no. Thank you. Miniaga is budget committee chair.
All right, thanks, congratulations. Yeah, you get your own microphone, the one thing you never knew you wanted. And tip from those of us who've been there before, on, and then when you're done, you can turn it off. Yeah, like muting on the Zoom or something like that. Yeah, it's off right now. That's right. And I will pass this to you, and then you can preside over the nominations of the vice chair.
Okay, so I'd like, do you have to press the button? I'd like to call in for the vice chair to be nominated. Any names?
I would like to go ahead and just nominate the same vice chair as we had last year, which is Elena. She.
Okay, all right. I guess Selena is. Oh, are there any other nominations? If there are no other nominations, then I'd like to call the vote.
Anyone in opposition, please say no. Thank you. Helena G is vice chair of the budget committee.
Okay. Congratulations, Elena.
Close.
Okay, I'd like to hand over the presentation of the proposed budget message by Dr. Ludwig.
So in front of you is a budget document for the fiscal year 23-24. Under the executive summary tab, you will see the superintendent budget message on 1.2. And now Dr. Ludwig will read out loud the budget message for us.
Thank you, Dr. Hughes. So this is a number of pages, but it is part of procedure to read it into the record. And so you can follow along. Dear West Linn-Wilsonville School District Budget Committee members and community, I respectfully submit the West Linn-Wilsonville School District proposed budget for 2023-2024 in accordance with ORS 294.391. The district budget for 23-24 proposes $156,284,722 in the general fund, $29,248,334 in the special revenue fund, $41,356,038 in the debt services fund, and $75,709,650 in the Capital Projects Fund. Together, the funds demonstrate a balanced budget of revenue and expenditures that meet federal and state regulations and align with the district goals, the district continuous improvement plan, the district equity action plan, and individual school work plans. There'll be 4 parts to this budget message. Public school budget sources. Public school districts are funded through a variety of sources. There's the general fund, which includes the state school fund. With a shift to a primarily state-funded school system, school districts receive the vast majority of their funding through the state school fund into their general budget. To achieve equalized per-student funding, the current formula reduces state aid if local revenues per student are high and increases state aid if local revenues per student are low. The formula uses 5 different methods to adjust for cost differences among school districts: teacher experience adjustment, transportation grant, facility grant, high-cost disability grant, and a weighted student count. There's also property taxes that go into the general fund. Annual property taxes are also collected for school districts, ESDs, and community colleges at a regulated rate. As mentioned above, state funds and local funds work together to balance the amount allocated to districts across the state in an equalization effort. Local option levy. Under Oregon's property tax law, a local option levy gives individual communities the ability to supplement state funding for their local schools. In November 2019, voters in Westland and Wilsonville renewed a 4-year local option levy at a rate of $1.50 per 1,000 of assessed value. Local option taxes in our district are used to fund teachers at all schools to sustain effective class sizes. And then there's a special revenue fund. School districts also receive funds through federal or state grants. These grants are accountable to special spending criteria. There's federal IDEA and title grants. The Office of Special Education Programs administers 3 formula grant programs authorized by the Individuals with Disability Education Act, IDEA. These grants are awarded to states annually to support students experiencing disabilities birth through age 21. And then title funds are annual federal monies that are meant to supplement, not replace, existing state funding for education. And these examples provided in the document are Title I, Title II, and Title III. And you can see those definitions. There's also state grants that you'll find in the Special Revenue Fund. We have 2 large state grants. The first is the High School Success Grant. It was formerly called Measure 98. The state-funded High School Success Grant targets improvement to graduation rates through expansion of college and career technical education, CTE programs. It addresses chronic absenteeism and providing interventions that reduce dropout rates. School districts apply for funds that must be spent to implement 3 strategies. You can see the 3 strategies there: dropout prevention, college level education opportunities, and expanding career and technical education programs. In Westland Wilsonville, we have developed a strategic plan for allocating these high school success grant funds to impact all 3 of these areas that connect to school attendance, graduation, and a student's aspiration for college, career, and beyond. This grant awards funds based on the number of high school students in each school district. The second grant is the Student Success Act, or the Student Investment Account Grant. In 2018, voters approved a corporate activities tax, allocating funds each biennium toward the Student Success Act. The Student Success Act proportions each year towards 3 funds: statewide education initiatives, early learning account, and the Student Investment Account, SIA. The SIA is an annual non-competitive grant fund for all Oregon school districts and eligible charter schools. This money has 2 purposes. 1, to meet students' mental and behavioral health needs, and 2, increase academic achievement and reduce academic disparities for students who have historically experienced disparities in our schools. Extensive community engagement informed the goals within the district's continuous improvement plan and the priorities outlined in the district's student investment account grant application. This grant awards funds based on the weighted student count in each school district. And then lastly, capital projects. The revenue in this fund comes primarily from capital bond tax sources, land sales, or construction excise tax. And when you look at this fund, you'll see that in each of these areas of revenue and expenditure, they must meet federal, state, or county requirements and regulations. So now we know how school districts are funded. What does it mean to start assembling a school district budget? In the process of assembling a school budget, the district uses these general steps. Step 1, we begin by rolling forward the level of staffing, programs, and services from the current year into the next year. Step 2, the school and district leaders evaluate programs, operations, and staffing levels based on projected need. Then step 3, we gather community input through surveys of staff, parents, and patrons regarding key investment priorities. In other words, what is it that you want to see the district continue to do in the following year? And then adjustments are made based on survey results, those conversations, and any other new information from federal, state, or local funding sources. Lastly, a proposed budget is brought before you, the Budget Committee. So what are these key investment strategies mentioned in step 3? These are those that are research-based or proven to exemplify the quality of learning and the quality of care every parent wishes for their child. Key investments that our community has identified include hiring and developing the most qualified professionals who provide expert instruction for all students, including students with diverse learning needs, prioritizing and delivering high-quality professional learning experiences, systems, curricula, and supports that impact instruction in the classroom on a daily basis, developing and sustaining strategies that increase time for learning, including a full academic school year and full academic schedules for all students, maintaining effective class sizes while strengthening counseling, teacher librarians, special education, operations, and information technology support, expanding and supporting strong early childhood programs, pre-K and kindergarten, providing instructional and programmatic supports for mental and behavioral health needs, utilizing school equity teams and district-wide initiatives to eliminate systems of racism and increase equity and access for all students, expanding advanced placement and other college-level courses in our high schools, providing enriched and comprehensive programming for the performing and visual arts, world and dual language, athletics, activities, and wellness across all schools, expanding STEM and CTE programs and related experiences in science, technology, engineering, journalism, health sciences, business marketing, and mathematics, offering online and blended learning options to students and families, which expands course offerings and provides flexible learning environments and pacing for students, and maintaining responsible stewardship of our facilities, grounds, and other property assets. On these key investments, we receive feedback from the community. A survey was sent out to the community in mid-April asking for feedback regarding these key investments and which they would prioritize for the new fiscal school year 2023-2024. The district received close to 600 survey responses. The feedback was collected, analyzed, and applied when evaluating these investments within the proposed budget, such as these top responses. So these are the 4 that we heard the highest response rate: hiring quality staff, effective class sizes, providing quality curriculum and support for mental health and behavioral needs. And you can see the full survey results at the back of your binders later. So measuring the outcomes of these investments. Well, we measure the outcomes of our investments by collecting, analyzing, and utilizing a broad range of evidence. First, what does the graduation rate look like? What about the dropout rate? Who are our students attending regularly? How are our 9th grade students doing on track? You can see the list here. Student participation in AP courses, next year IB courses, and dual credit classes at our high schools. We look at the data collected by the Oregon Department of Education in district and school report cards, Oregon state assessments that provide academic benchmark data aligned to college and career readiness, and then our own district administered interim and formative assessments that provide academic growth or achievement data. And these assessments, whether standards-based or skills-based, tests or grades, provide valuable information to help students monitor their own learning, help teachers adjust and prepare strategically for new learning, and help school and district leadership teams effectively plan where broad-based as well as targeted new learning, instruction, and resources are needed. And then, of course, we collect anecdotal data from our students, our staff, and our community through surveys and district or school-based information forums. Part 3, reporting the budget for 2023-24. The West Linn-Wilsonville School District 23-24 general budget proposal is based on a $9.9 billion state school fund biennium. While $9.9 billion is an increase from the past biennium, which was $9.3 billion, it does not adequately address the cost to roll forward and maintain current programs and personnel. It is well below what is needed to adjust for payroll increases, increases in insurance costs, increases in materials and utility costs, and the national rise in inflation. School district business managers in Oregon calculate that the current service level for the biennium of 23-25 should amount to a $10.3 billion state school fund. For the 23-24 district budget, we have had to make the following working assumptions. For our general fund revenue, we are using and need to apply the state school revenue of $9.9 billion for the biennium. You can see that's split 49% in the first year and 51% in the second. We are working with the assumption of a state school fund of $61,590,314, property taxes of $44,048,763. We are working with an ADM, and that's average daily membership of students, projected at approximately 9,100 students. However, we'll use the funds calculated using the weighted ADMW of 10,410 from the year 22-23. And that's because in Oregon, we get funded for the highest ADM of 2 years. Our projected local option revenue of $12,929,931. The utilization of regional ESD funds appropriated to the district of $3,138,989. We have those 2 special revenue grants that I described earlier. The high school success grant is being awarded at approximately $2.8 million. And that student investment account, the SIA grant, at $6.9 million. We also have our reserves or our ending fund balance, a carryover of approximately $30,162,427 as of March 31st, 2023 ending fund balance. We put that date in there because the year is not over and it could change one way or the other. So that's the revenue working assumptions that we have built into this budget proposal. What are the expenditures that we've built into here? Well, first of all, we did that rolling forward of current service level. So staff and programs and operations in this year, we've rolled them forward into next year. But we've also done some increases. We've increased personnel costs to honor negotiated contracts that include increases in cost of living and years of service step increases and health insurance. That's for both our licensed and our classified staff. We are also making the decision to increase the hours and benefits to paraeducator classified staff to provide additional support and scheduled time for training and collaboration. And that's new going into next year. That's with a particular group of classified staff paraeducators work primarily in the classrooms with students. And so they'll move in their hourly rate per day, and then also they'll get that increase in benefits. We know we'll have an increased cost in PACE insurance. We're projecting about a 10 to 15% increase that's factored into our expenditures. There'll be increased costs for utilities, transportation, materials, supplies, and purchase services for all buildings and adjusting for expansion across the district. We're excited about Riverside High School, and there's additional costs with a new school, administrators, teaching staff, support staff, and operating budget. That's factored into the expenditures. We are also adding additional staffing positions to support the K-5 literacy renewal curriculum and professional development by the hiring of 6 reading coaches for next year. And we're also adding additional administrators, 2 at the high schools, each of the large high schools, 2 at middle school, and 2 primary support staff. These will be coaches to build educator capacity in working with the diverse needs of students and increasing the collaboration necessary to achieve school goals. With only a $9.9 billion state school fund, districts across Oregon are making difficult decisions regarding their ability to roll forward with current staff and programs. For some, and this hits close to home with some of our neighboring districts, it means reductions in staff or programs next year. You've probably heard of some of those already. For others, it means depleting reserves for one or both years in order to keep a current service level. In West Linn-Wilsonville, we will expend a large portion of our ending fund balance from 22-23, that's our reserve, in order to roll forward our current service level, as well as provide the additional staffing that I outlined earlier. To be clear, this is not a sustainable practice. The use of reserves is a one-time fix. Depleting reserves means that the second year of the biennium will be impacted by having less to draw upon. We're hopeful that legislators will be responsive to advocacy efforts still going on at this time and will increase the state school fund while time allows. Otherwise, like other districts, we anticipate making reductions in the second year of the biennium. And lastly, I want to recognize our community. I wish to recognize the leadership of our school board members. We appreciate your volunteer service that includes countless hours meeting with patrons, attending school and district events while leading the district. We appreciate your belief and support in the professional expertise and commitment to students by our staff and administrators. We appreciate your courageous advocacy for inclusion of all children in a general education learning experience while speaking out on issues of race and equity. I wish to recognize our budget committee and all who participated in this budget development process by sending us your feedback, parents, patrons, and staff. The interest, support, and advocacy by our community towards our school district is deeply evident. The strong investment of parent volunteers and community partnerships in our students is a hallmark across Wilsonville and West Linn. I wish to recognize our stellar business office and the countless hours they have invested in assembling this budget document, alongside hours of meeting with district staff to ensure programs and staffing are accurately reflected. I wish to recognize the excellence of our teachers and staff in our schools who bring their best professional selves to the work on a daily basis. Our teachers and staff seek out professional learning that address race and equity reform, research-based best practices, and high-leverage instructional strategies that move the dial in eliminating opportunity and achievement gaps. And lastly, I wish to recognize and thank our community's generosity in supporting local option levies and capital construction bonds over the years. Our local option levy helps us currently fund approximately 80 teachers. And our most recent capital bond in 2019 allowed us to build a new primary school and middle school, remodel an existing school to open our new Riverside High School, add a new auditorium to Wilsonville High School, expand the stadium and parking at West Linn High School, upgrade safety, security, and technology at all schools, and attend to district-wide improvements. These are significant contributions, and we would not be able to provide the level of service and learning to students without this support. In closing, it's important to restate that an inadequate state school fund this biennium results in the expenditure of district reserves for West Linn-Wilsonville and reductions for neighboring districts for the year 2023-24. We will likely have difficult decisions to make in the near future. And yet I hold a spirit of optimism that our state and elected representatives understand that the nationwide conditions of workforce shortages paired with increased inflation and wages are not going away overnight. We will be in this economic predicament for the foreseeable future. There needs to be a more stable and adequate funding source and commitment in Oregon for K-12 education. As a last word, I am proud and humbled to serve the West Linn-Wilsonville School District and to bring forward a budget that supports the mission and goals of this school district, is responsive to our community, and strives to nurture self-efficacy, which is belief, and a sense of belonging for each student. Respectfully, Kathy Ludwig, Superintendent.
Thank you, Dr. Ludwig. So right after the table of content, you will see 3 pages of information helping us understand the West Linn-Wilsonville school budget for fiscal year 23-24. So very beginning of the book. Yeah, so after the table of content, you will see that, yes. So this is put together real quick because school budget can be challenging to read and understand. So that's why I produce this document to provide us with an easy to understand summaries of the West Linn-Wilsonville School District budget. So common question that people often ask are where does the money coming from? How does the money pay for? And what about other funds? So in here, in the very first page, on the left-hand side, you will see the pie chart that show you where does the money coming from for our general fund. The majority money coming from our district is a property tax, which it represents 28%. And another biggest one is the state school fund, which is 39%. The local option represent 8%. And another big portion is the estimate ending fund balance for this fiscal year carry forward to next fiscal year at our March 31st, 19%. So after that, the next page, it shows you how does the money in the general fund budget pay for. And you can look at it in a 2 different ways. The first way is on the left-hand side, is allocated down by the object, which is salary, actual shape benefits with the payroll, and then purchasing services, supply, and so on. So under this table, it shows 72.9 million out of 156 million go to salary. And that is about 47%. So below of each chart, I have the pie chart for you to reference. So instead of some people, they would like to see the number, and some people it resonates well with them when they see the pie chart and the percentage. So with this pie chart is so salary alone is 47%. And then all the payroll association with the salary is 29%. So the total, the salary and the payroll, the benefits associated with payrolls is between 80 to 80% of the total general fund budget. And after that will be purchasing services and other support. On the right-hand side, you will see the budget allocated down by the function. So we have instructional function, support services function. In here, this is according to Oregon Department of Education. They use enterprise, but enterprise is for nutrition services. So nutrition services and community services, and then transfer and contingency. So both way, the total budget is 156.2 million, but you can see and understand in how we allocate it out under the expenditure. The last question we have is, are there other funds in the school district budget? And yes, we do. Besides general fund, we have special revenue. We have debt services that we allocate the money to pay back the GO bond and the UAL, the pension bond. Besides debt services, we have capital construction and trust and agency. So trust and agency, we used to have fund 700 in 2023, 22 and 23, but in this proposed budget, you don't see it anymore. And I have the note here because based on our auditor advisor, they recommend that funds should shift it under special revenue. So when you review the budget book under Fund 200, you will see this, just an agency fund. So that is very much the overall of the budget document for fiscal year 23-24. Yeah, we are hoping that because our budget committee will get together on May 17th. That's where the budget committee will approve the budget. So we are hoping that by May 12th, 5 o'clock, by May 12th, you will send all of the questions that you have either to me or to Dr. Ludwig, and we will try our best to respond back with the answer to all of the community members, so all of you will understand and receive the same information from us.
So you have some homework. Between now and May 17th, you get to digest this document, go through each of those funds, generate any questions you have for us, make notes, and bring them to the work session. One of the reasons that we mentioned that May 12th is sometimes you'll have questions that you wonder if others have the same questions. Maybe we can answer them before the work session. So if you have any of those kinds of questions, just send them our way. We'll quickly answer them, send them back to the whole group. That way you're getting some responses to your questions while you're working through the document. You don't have to save all of your questions for May 17th. But if you prefer to, that's fine as well.
Yeah.
And that work session, we'll just all work through the document and you'll ask any questions about the budget that you have, and staff will do our best to address them. If you want to give us a heads up about questions you might ask, those can also come our way. And then that way we're as prepared as possible for that work session. If there's anything confusing in the document around just understanding it, navigating it, don't hesitate to call Dr. Hughes or myself, and we'll just open up the book alongside. You can even come here in person and we can go through any component of this with you along the way.
And we can Zoom too.
Or we can Zoom.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
I think I don't have a question. Thank you for this. This is so well organized. The only thing I'll say is, maybe you already said this, but on page 23 is where we have the dates. So in case people don't retain that information, you can look here for the scheduled dates.
Yeah, that's the budget calendar. It said May 17 is the budget committee will approve the budget. And then if needed, then we will meet again on May 22nd. And then on June, the first week of June, the board will adopt the budget.
So in your calendars, you'll want to reserve the 17th for sure. And if we don't get completed that evening, if you can hold the 22nd also in your calendars, if we need to carry over any time for that. And then otherwise, the board meeting on the 5th.
And 5 p.m. start, correct? Did you say that while I was writing? 5 p.m. start for the meeting on the 17th.
Yeah, starts at 5 p.m.
And just to reiterate, and what you said was to email you the questions by May 12th.
Correct.
Okay.
And I will follow up with an email reminder.
And those sometimes, just a heads up to folks, sometimes those, if we email you a question, it's so that you can be prepared. And we need to just be mindful that sometimes those questions that we pose then get emailed out to the whole budget committee, because you're trying to inform everybody of, if one person has one question.
Exactly. Questions you can get to us before the 12th, we'll respond to right away. We won't wait until the 17th. We'll just send you back those responses so that you can be hearing some of the questions of your colleagues and seeing our response back, because it might be the same question you have, and then you can kind of cross it off your list. That kind of gets us down to the 17th with what are those remaining questions. But don't feel pressured. You can always bring all of your questions to the 17th meeting, the work session. will only be able to email back questions that come before the 12th, because the following Monday and Tuesday, we're getting ready for the work session. So we just won't be able to respond.
That's it. Okay, I guess I'd like to call the meeting in done and call for recess, I guess.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
All right. I am going to reopen the regular meeting. And we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the new rates for the construction excise tax for fiscal year 2023, 2024. Is that Remo coming up or is it you? Okay, great. Hi.
Yeah,
I think construction and I think Remo, but this is money.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, when it related to money, it go under the business office. So last week when I submit the resolution 2022-14, recommend the board approve the new construction excise tax established by the Oregon Department of Revenue. Right after that resolution got posted to the website, I recognize that we don't need that resolution and the board doesn't need to vote on it. As you might recall, on May of 2007, the state of Oregon allows school district to impose a construction excise tax on project that results in a new structure or additional square footage on an existing structure. And the board adopt resolution 2008-5 on December 10 of 2007. This resolution enacted a construction excise tax, set the rate and limit, and authorized the creation of intergovernmental agreement to impose and collect the tax. The intergovernmental agreement was authorized with the 5 applicable jurisdiction: City of Tualatin, City of Westland, City of Wilsonville, Clackamas County, and Washington County. So starting July 4th of 2023, the district planned to implement the new CET tax rate established by the Oregon Department of Revenue as the following. Another one is from the Oregon Department of Revenue with the rate. So this is the rate that come to us from Department of Revenue. And they set the rate each year. And for fiscal year 23-24, the residential will be at $1.56. Non-residential will be 0.78 cents. And non-residential maximum dollar per square foot will be 39,100. The last time that the district held the tax rates on this is in 2021. So it's been like throughout the COVID year, we did not do any upgrade on the construction excise tax rate. So now we just would like to catch up with the current rate that recommend to us from the Department of Revenue. So this item is sharing for your for your information and for the public information, no action needed. So if you don't have any question, then I can move on to the next item. Or
It looks like Vice Chair Thompson has a question.
I was just wondering if you can share with our community just specifics about how we as a district use this tax.
Mhm. Yes, so the district, when we have this money, it will help cover the cost of school facility construction, reconstruction, improvement, or installation of the equipment, furnishing, or other intangible property needed for the school operation.
And is there anything specific like in this last year? Can you
Yeah.
maybe
So this last year, but it's not over yet, and you've got some business tonight. We look to spend about $500,000 from the CET construction excise tax account. Some of that spending has already happened for the rebuild of the elevator at Westland High School. We needed to repair and rebuild that. Some playground fencing, and then athletic shot clocks at Westland and Wilsonville High School. And then tonight you'll be discussing the remodel for the adult transition space, and we can use CET funds for that. So altogether, that would be about 500,000 from that account, which is a good use of that money.
Great, thank
Yeah.
you. I just think it's nice for our community to hear where exactly the taxes
We
that
were
collect
hoping you were going to ask
go,
that
so.
question. Otherwise, we were going to offer that information.
Looks like we can move on.
Okay, thank you. So the next items that the business office has is the transfer appropriation. So each year prior to June 30th, the board adopt the budget, and then in order for the district to spend the money in the new fiscal year, the adopted budget serve as a financial plan and also serve as a tool to assist the district to predict where the spending is expected to happen. And sometimes the actual spending changing throughout the year, and that require for the business manager to come to the board to request for transfer appropriation. So for the function under the ODE guidance, we have the district are classified into 7 areas. We have 1,000 with a 1,000 function for instruction, 2,000 for support services, 3,000 for community services, enterprise or nutrition services, 4,000 function is facility construction, 5,000 function is for interagency fund transaction, and 6,000 function is a contingency. So under this resolution here, you can see that the revenue, the total budget for general fund is 133 million under the adopted budget. And then on the right-hand column, the final, which is the year-end projected that the business office has, is also say within the adopted budget, which is 133 million. The line item under 1,000 function instruction and 2,000 support services. The 2,000 function support services, the adopted budget is 44 million. But for the year-end projected, I think we will need 45.8 million, which is 1.8 million more than the adopted budget. And under the 5,000 function, we budgeted 185, but we need 335. So from the 2,000 function and the 5,000 function, we need the additional of 1.9 million. And that because we underspend in the 1,000 function. So I'm asking the board to allow us to move 1.9 million from 1,000 function to 2,000 function and 5,000 function to ensure that we are in the compliance with the local budget. The last item is the Capital Project Fund 400. The total budget for the Fund 400 is 100. Of Fund 400, the capital, the Capital Project Fund 400. The total adopted budget is 147.2 million. And we stay within that adopted budget. However, the 4,000 function, the 5,000 function is needed, the additional of 200,000, because in this one, when we put the budget together, we wasn't aware of Series 2022. So when Series 2022 happened, there is additional cost to pay to other like the legal counsel, the financial advisor, Piper Sandler, and so on. So therefore, we need additional 200,000 in here, and that money available under 4,000 function. So in here, I'm asking the board to authorize us to transfer $200,000 from 4,000 function to the 5,000 function.
All right, very good. Do you want to get a motion on the table first?
I move we approve resolution 2022-17, resolution transferring appropriations for fiscal year 2022-2023.
All right, thank you, Director Wyatt.
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Director Taylor. And is there conversation or questions? All right, I'm hearing none. I don't think. How are you, Director Sloop? Are you good to call the vote, or do you have anything? Okay, great. You can call the vote, please.
Director Sloop. Aye. Director Taylor.
Aye.
Chair King.
Aye.
Vice Chair Thompson. Aye. And Director Wyatt.
Aye.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right, so now we're done with the business office and we can move on to the Department of Operations, and Mr. McGuff's coming up to tell us about the proposed resolution for the Adult Transitions Program construction contract.
Good evening,
And
Board.
Remo too.
We're excited to bring this forward. This is the final bid award for the construction of the Adult Transition Program that I know that you've all been tuned into. I'd like to introduce Remo Douglas. He has all the details on this, but I'm available for questions as well. So.
Good evening, Board. Here to talk about the adult transition contract this evening. The packet had the usual memorandum and background around the project. I believe you're familiar with the program overall. There was some commentary brought in over email. So I'm happy to address any questions the board may have around the resolution, the project itself, or any of that feedback that you might have.
I'm not seeing anybody.
My
going
only
for their-
feedback is I think this is great. I'm excited for the location and this opportunity for this program to be in the community, more in the hub of the community. So.
So I did want to speak to the budget and to the amount on the bid award. The total project is $375,000. That's what's been allocated. That includes design, construction, furnishings, and moving. So if there is some question about what the 375 number means and the bid award amount of 260, that is the breakdown.
Yeah, and I could go in at length about when an estimate happens during construction that informs a budget versus by the time we're getting ready for bid and what we tell bidders based on final tuning and all those sorts of things. This is all very standard construction management process. But if the board needs any further information for confidence in those numbers, I can go on at some length if you would like.
Would it be a fair analogy to say that it would be like if you were building a house and so you had a budget to build the actual house, but then you know that there's going to be an additional cost to go along with moving into the new house, furnishing that house, putting the finishes on, and then making it a home? Would that be like a comparison that you might use between those two numbers?
That is a most appropriate comparison. And also we endeavor whenever we're using construction excise tax funds, because that's a limited fund, we endeavor to present very clearly to the administration and the board what the top end of that spending could be, because there are competing interests. Perhaps hypothetically, the elevator at Westland High School might need replacement. And so as Dr. Ludwig and Dr. Hughes are contemplating where all they might use those funds, which are limited, we try to provide a clear top end figure. So that 375, I don't expect we'll spend quite all of that. But we want to present them a clear picture so that they don't over allocate those resources and then put us in a bind later. So I don't expect we'll spend that. But that's the purpose of that dollar value.
But using that same analogy, you also have an architect that designed the house for you. So this does include professional services for architectural engineering, code review and compliance, and the whole package in order to build the structure.
I move to approve resolution 2022-18 as presented.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. With the motion, the second, I'm having a sense we don't have further discussion. So I'm excited about the space. Let's call the vote.
So are we.
Yeah.
Director Sloop?
Aye.
Director Taylor?
Aye.
Chair King?
Aye.
Vice Chair Thompson?
Aye.
Director Wyatt? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. That concludes all of our items for the agenda this evening. This is 8 years and might be the only time to finish an agenda half an hour earlier than what it says. So that's great. And now we will turn to the public comment portion for items that are not directly related to the agenda. And I think folks, these look like all familiar names. So I think everybody who signed up has done this before. But let me just run through quickly our guidelines for maintaining decorum and for following policies. We're always thankful when members of the public come speak, and you are very welcome here. And I will call you up one at a time, and we invite you to come up and please state your name. And we've gotten away from the address, but if you can just let us know if you live in the district or not, that's helpful to us. And then this is a time for us to listen and to collect information from you. And so it's not a time for us to engage in dialogue, but just to listen. So you'll see us listening, maybe taking notes. If you have a specific ask where you're asking for a specific type of information, then just make sure that that's really clear and give us your contact information so someone can follow up with you. We have a separate process for complaints about an individual. So if you have a complaint about any individual, then we will point you toward the complaint process, which is on the district website. And so we ask that you not do that at the podium. And you get 3 minutes. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes. I don't think we're going to need to go over 45 minutes because we have 5 folks signed up. And if you need more than 3 minutes, if you email us, we read it. And so you can supply additional information that way. And then I think also this is a lower intensity meeting than we've had in the past. I don't think this will be an issue, but we do invite you to make sure that you're speaking to us rather than turning around and speaking out toward anybody that's not the board. So director comments here. And that's it. And with that, I will welcome up Kristen Gavin.
Hi. You haven't heard from me before. I'm new. Actually, this is my first time. I do live in the district. So over a decade ago, we moved to West Linn because of the school districts. We already knew that our oldest was going to require additional time and treatment in the classroom and was likely going to get overlooked in Portland, and West Linn was ranked one of the highest in the state at the time. So we packed up our young family. We moved into an apartment, risking everything for what we thought was going to be the best education in the state for our children. I want to quickly introduce you to our kids. Our oldest is a junior at West Linn High School. He does not have dyslexia, which I know you've heard a lot about. He does, however, have ADHD, a traumatic brain injury, convergence, communication disorder, anxiety, and many more that I don't want to list to you, but you wouldn't know it by looking at him. He's smart, he's funny, he's kind, he holds a part-time job, he has a great group of friends, and without his IEP and the learning specialist at the high school, who I can't praise enough, he would never have made it this far. I want to be really clear, he's nowhere near a high school reading and writing level. Whether or not that's due to his medical state or the reading standards in the district, I don't know. Our second child is in the 5th grade, and we love the staff at Willamette. He has been in outside speech services since he was 3, and he's also on an IEP. Fun fact, if you fall below 7%, you get speech services in school, but you don't if you fall above it. So we have been paying for separate speech services since he was 3 years old. Our family goal was in 2nd grade to be able to read his letters outside on display when we would go to conferences at the school, and his confidence level was affected so badly that at the beginning of school this year, he talked about hurting himself. My third child is a 7th grader at Rosemont Ridge, and we joke that she is the future mayor of West Linn. She's precocious, she's a cheerleader, she's on NCL, and she's an advocate to all. She also hasn't met an animal yet that we haven't had to deter her from adopting. Over quarantine, we fostered a mom and 8 puppies, and you thought your COVID experience was bad. She struggles the most right now with literacy and comprehension. She was taught to read in kindergarten by memory, words, pictures, and whatever fits best. That's how all the kids were taught. Reading in our house is based on the teachings in the district, and it looks like this. Memorize as many words as you can. The words become like pictures. Guess the words based on the context. If you come across a word that you don't have in your visual memory bank, look at the first letter in the word and then come up with a word based on the clues that make the sense. Words then become like a 20-question game. What word could this be? If all else fails, skip the words that you don't know. Most of the time, reading becomes exhausting and taxing mentally and physically. Thank you.
Thank you. And Julie Frazier.
Hi, I'm Julie Frazier. I live in the district. I live in the district. I'm just going to take off where she left off. They were not excited to learn. In fact, they dreaded it. Reading and homework became a battle. My children would rather clean their rooms than read. This is when I knew we had a problem. Growing up, I was a voracious reader. My mother had a rule. When a movie came out, if it was a book, we had to read it first. Yes, I read Flowers in the Attic. I even read The Shining. She was a firm believer that you needed to have both sides to compare the story. It was the best way to start a conversation, and I loved it. It was a challenge, the good kind of challenge. The only challenge we have now is getting started, and I hate it. It breaks my heart. But I am one of the lucky ones. We are fortunate that our oldest gets audiobooks as an accommodation for his IEP for now. And we are so fortunate that our youngest gets an assisted 240 hours a week for one-on-one instruction with reading and writing. Unfortunately, our daughter, like many others, is a statistic. An otherwise excellent student this year in 7th grade for language arts. She recorded an NYM in Q1, an NG in Q2, and another NYM in Q3. And right now has an NA for Q4. Nobody but us seemed concerned for this. Not the teacher, principal, counselor. We have pushed for testing. Meanwhile, she continues to decline, struggle, and fall behind. According to the Department of Education, students who are not reading by the end of 3rd grade are 4 times more likely to drop out or not graduate on time. According to the Department of Education, students who are not reading by the end of the 3rd grade are 4 times more likely to drop out or not graduate on time. I am asking for my children and for the future children of West Linn to please implement a structured literacy program that is backed by science so that we can once again be the highest ranked district in the state, a district to be proud of. In the words of my daughter's hero, Lizzo, the truth hurts and it's about damn time.
All right, is it Iman Dong?
Hi, my name is Iman, and I am a teacher and a member of the West Linn Parents for Literacy Equity. I also live in West Linn and I have incoming kinder. I want to thank some of you who came to the Right to Read documentary. And we remain hopeful that this documentary can serve as a catalyst for change and for the administration at West Linn-Wilsonville to truly support the teachers to train them how to teach students to read effectively. While we understand that the district has declined to use Lucy Calkins, we would like to emphasize that the Fontes and Pinnell phonics, spelling, and word study, as well as the use of the LLI, are not adequate alternatives either. We are hopeful that these materials will not be included in the adoption renewal as supplemental resources. They do not align with structured literacy or best practices for teaching students to read. As a bridge to the adoption in 2024, we hope that we are able to replicate the Beaverton School District's implementation of the UFly reading curriculum, which is based on structured literacy program. The new superintendent in Beaverton organized coffee chats with the dyslexia parents community in the fall, allowing them to voice their concerns and experiences directly. As a result, the district trained its staff on the UFly curriculum this month and ordered UFly manuals for all K-5 schools. I can't help but think how our communication and understanding of each other seems to be muddy. How can we fix this and come together and work collaboratively? I know that the ball is already rolling with word study for next year, but it doesn't have to continue. To my understanding, no curriculum has been approved by the board. We urge you to consider the potential benefits of using a structured literacy curriculum like UFly, especially for teachers in the K-2 and as an intervention and use in special education. Here are some reasons why we believe UFly would be a great option. The manual is affordable. It costs $70 each. There are support groups for teachers to ask questions and moderators to answer them quickly. Instructional videos are available for free. Training is available and lesson slides are already done and ready to use in the classroom. The materials are engaging. There are activities, games, home connections, decodable text, and activities and comprehension exercises. Lessons are direct, intensive, and short. It's easy to slow down for students who need more practice. Implementing UFly with a training from IMSE can be a game changer beginning this next school year. We are really concerned that the IMSE with word study and LLI might leave teachers frustrated since they won't be able to fully practice what they have just learned from IMSE. I've handed you some information. I urge you to look it over, and we would really like to meet with the superintendents and assistant superintendents and any of you to talk in person as a group. Thank you.
Maggie Traverso? Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Maggie Traverso. I'm a resident. My daughter is in 1st grade. And I just wanted to first start off by saying thank you to Dr. Ludwig, Dr. Soyson, Dr. Pryor, and Director Sloop for attending the Right to Read film screening last Tuesday. We had a great turnout, and we hope that the event will lead to continued discussion and understanding of our asks. And as Iman just discussed, the use of Fontes and Pinnell's phonics spelling and word study as a phonics supplement and the ongoing teacher training with these materials is troubling. If you're like me and if you've been following the science of reading movement in the news, you'll understand the troubling nature of continuing to put money and training behind curriculum authors and a publisher that has profited off of reading instruction that has been discredited by science, and that, they've profited off of our children for a generation who have not adequately learned to read. So what I want to do is read from Ed Report's review of the Fontes and Pinnell word study that is currently being used, just to give you their view of this curriculum. This report is for a supplementary foundational skills program intended to use alongside comprehensive core English language arts program. The phonics spelling and word study lessons, kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2 materials reviewed partially meet the criteria for alignment to standards and research-based practices for foundational skills instruction. The instructional materials use an analytic approach to phonics. Materials include a limited scope and sequence that delineates the sequence in which phonological awareness and phonics skills are to be taught. The program does not present a research-based or evidence-based explanation for the teaching of these skills, or for the particular hierarchy in which the skills are presented. Materials provide limited instructional support for general concepts of print. Materials provide explicit instruction in phonological awareness and phonics through systemic modeling. However, materials include 26 phonological awareness lessons with limited frequent opportunities for students to practice phonological awareness activities. Materials do not include systematic opportunities for students to review previously learned phonics skills. Materials include limited systematic instruction of high-frequency words and limited opportunities to practice reading of high-frequency words to develop automaticity. The teacher reads aloud poetry from Sing a Song of Poetry. However, materials do not contain resources for frequent, explicit, systematic instruction in fluency elements, and students do not read text with a focus on fluent reading. You can find more on the internet. Thank you.
John McCabe.
I guess something that has to be done for people that are tall. John McCabe, Westland, Oregon. I had 2 students who graduated from the West Linn-Wilsonville School District. I guess one of the things I look at when you heard the budget, Portland Public Schools is talking about cutting 90 positions. They only had a loss of 47 students for their ADM. We're basically even with last year. In fact, ours could go up right now. We're showing ESL being very low in the school district. If the ESL turns out to be higher next year, we will actually get more money. But you never know until all the students are in where your numbers really are. Because like this year, we got a little bit more money because the level of students that were listed as federal poverty, it was a significant increase, which allowed some additional funds to the school district. But it's nothing too sure about. If we get more ESL students, it's still going to be below what we need. But what I don't know, the public doesn't know, is the audit still has not been published. It's Secretary of State's office does not have it. It's not on the website. And if it's in the books for your the budget, well, you have more than the public does. In fact, I don't know how long it's going to be before the budget is being made available to the public. And so it's very difficult to know where certain things are without seeing the audit from the prior year. And going forward, we don't know. But the other part of it is in the budget thing that was the video that was on the internet, it showed how many students per grade level for the average class. We have a problem with Riverside. Riverside will have less than 20 students per class. According to the vice principal, there's less than 100 students that are going to be attending there the next year. When we look at our students that we really want to get started well in the primary grades, they'll have larger classes than Riverside. The budget committee doesn't have enough time. School board doesn't have enough time to discuss this. And when I was trying, and I knew the figures had to be low. And when I was trying to get the information, as they say, it was like pulling teeth. It took a long time for me to get any of the numbers that proved what is known now. And the thing is on the budget, do we allow smaller class sizes for Riverside and larger class sizes for our primary? And I hope you guys take more than 2 nights to discuss this. Thank you.
All right, that concludes that portion of public comment, and there's no one else signed up for the other section. Are you? Oh, you bet. Are you, just let me know, are you a resident? Okay, yeah, come on up and sign your name here for us so we have record of it. Oh, okay. That's okay. I just can't read it. So if we either go back over with your. Yeah, we need to be able to read your name though. If you could write it, just. There we go. I should be able to read that. Thank you. I appreciate that. Andrew Clark. All right, very good. Thank you.
Okay. Andrew Clark. I have 2 children currently in school here in West Linn, both in elementary school at Sunset. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get signed up. I was sitting at home watching this meeting and decided I needed to come down to talk about my children. So there's been a lot of conversation around the curriculum renewal process, literacy, dyslexia, a lot of these really big, scary topics that people maybe don't understand completely. My oldest daughter, she's now 10 at Sunset. She was recently diagnosed with dyslexia. However, we noticed when she's early that she had issues with speech. So when she's 3 years old, started speech therapy, continued that into school, continued, not really realizing that there's something else going on. COVID was a blessing, right? We got to see her. We got to see her in school. And that's when the light bulb really kind of went off for us as parents. She wasn't getting it. We had a great teacher for both the COVID year at home and the same teacher for the following year, who spent countless hours trying to help her learn how to read. But she didn't know how. She didn't have the tools, despite years of being a teacher in the classroom. Didn't know what to do. There's nothing more heartbreaking as a teacher when you want to help children and you're unable to do so. To see the look in her face, realizing that, man, she's not where she needs to be successful. After receiving the dyslexia diagnosis, we were able to get her outside intervention. You know, this is a child who I would say has been failed by the school district through various avenues of support. And so we made a decision, like we will take on debt, we will spend the money to make sure that she has the ability to read because it's critical for her future success. And I'm willing to sacrifice for my child. The amount of growth that she has had in the last year has been incredible. And for anyone who doubts how structured literacy can work for kids, really should see some of these programs in action for kids with dyslexia and the difference in how it's taught and what it means to these kids to have it taught to them in the way they need it versus the way we want to give it to them. It's life-changing for these kids. And the easiest way to do this is through curriculum adoption. And so that's where I hope that we are very serious about structured literacy. And there's also an additional thing around support and how we actually are in providing real support to kids and not just enough to get them through, not just to get them to graduate, but to truly give them the ability to read. It's important to these children. So Thank you for listening.
All right, very good. Glad that you caught that. Is there anybody else? Did not get signed up? Okay, very good. I think that we are through all the agenda items. The next time I'll see you, board members will be at that budget committee meeting. All right, closed, meeting's closed.